What if the thing you've been searching for is already inside you? Let's start with a bold idea. You're not weak. You've just been taught to forget your own strength. From the moment we're born, we begin to shrink. Society tells us who we should be, what we should fear, and how far we're allowed to go. But deep down, there's a fire that never went out, a strength that's always been there, waiting. Think of the ancient story of Plato's cave, people chained in the dark, thinking shadows are all that exist. That's how most of us live. We see the world through fear, doubt, and stories handed to us by others. But what if the chains aren't real? What if you've had the key all along? This is where your real story begins. Not in power over others, not in chasing success, but in remembering the power that was buried inside you long ago. The kind that rises when you stop pretending to be small. Let's look at something most people never question. Where did your limits come from? We're not born thinking we can't do things. That idea gets planted by schools, by culture, by people who are scared themselves. Over time, we start to believe it. We build a fake version of ourselves just to fit in, a mask we wear to survive. Psychologists call it the persona, but behind that mask is the real you. Even modern science played a role in making us feel small. Centuries ago, thinkers like Descartes split the world into parts: mind and body, human and nature. We were taught to see ourselves like machines, predictable, limited. But ancient wisdom told a different story. In hidden teachings, from Taoism to Gnostic texts, there's a message. You are more powerful than you think, but you've been taught to forget. This section breaks down the quiet lie we've been living under and shows you how to begin breaking free. Here's the truth most people never hear. Real strength doesn't come from muscles. It comes from your soul. All across history, there were people who discovered this secret. Mystics, monks, philosophers. They didn't look outside for power. They looked inside, in the silence, in the stillness, in the pain. Ancient Hermetic wisdom said, "As within, so without." That means the world you see reflects what's going on inside you. And guess what? Modern quantum physics is catching up, showing how the observer can shape reality. Let's go deeper. The Stoics found strength by accepting what they couldn't control. Sufi mystics turned pain into divine love, and people like Viktor Frankl found meaning even in the horror of concentration camps. That's not weakness, that's power. This section shows how to tap into what some call inner alchemy, the ability to turn fear into courage and struggle into transformation. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you're not broken, you're becoming something new. Here's the twist most people never see coming. The moments when you feel weakest are often when you're becoming your strongest. Pain isn't the enemy, it's the doorway. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the hidden parts of yourself you try to ignore. But those parts, they hold your power. Think about it. The strongest people you know. They've walked through fire, they've faced things that could have broken them and came out different, wiser, deeper, stronger. Across cultures, there's an old symbol, the wounded healer. In Greek myths, it was Chiron. In many indigenous tribes, it's the shaman. These are people whose wounds became the source of their strength. This section flips everything you thought about pain. What if your deepest wound is your sacred gift, in disguise? What if the suffering wasn't punishment but preparation? You don't need to be fearless. You just need to face the thing you're scared of and walk through it anyway. That's where real power lives. Now it all starts to come together. You've seen how false limits shaped you. You've learned how pain can transform you. Now comes the deepest truth of all. You're not becoming stronger, you already are. You just forgot. Mystics like those in Vedanta believed the self is not just part of reality, it is reality. The same divine force that runs through the stars runs through you. Christian mystics like Meister Eckhart spoke of the divine spark in each of us, untouched, unbroken, eternal. You don't have to become powerful. You just have to remember who you already are. Picture this, a dreamer waking up inside, their dream realizing they have the power to shape it. That's what's happening here. You're remembering your true self, not the ego, not the mask, but the one behind your eyes, the one who's always been watching. You're stronger than you think, not because you fought your way here, but because you were never weak to begin with. We end with a challenge, a calling, a truth that's hard to hear, but harder to ignore. There is no rescue coming, because you've always been the one you were waiting for. This life, this pain, this journey, it's not an accident. What if your soul chose this path, knowing how strong you truly are? What if every breakdown was really a breakthrough? Think of fire. It destroys, but it also purifies. It burns away what isn't real. That's what your struggles have done. They weren't here to crush you. They were here to wake you up. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one, where you stop running, stop doubting, and start remembering. You're stronger than you think, and now that you know it, what will you do with that truth? What if I told you that your weakness isn't real? What if it was never yours to begin with? From the moment we're born, we're fed a quiet lie that we're fragile, that we're not enough, that we need to earn our worth. Parents, teachers, media, they don't always mean harm, but little by little, they build a cage around us. They teach us to be careful, to follow rules, to wait for permission, and somewhere along the way, we start believing we're small. But what if that was never true? What if the truth is, so you were always powerful, but someone taught you to forget? This isn't just about mindset, this is about identity. We'll start by pulling apart the lie, piece by piece, and once we do, you'll start to feel something move inside you, something ancient, something strong, something that was always there. Long before modern life made us feel weak, ancient cultures knew something different. They didn't teach that strength came from status or muscle. They taught that real strength lives inside you. The Stoics knew it. So did the sages of India, the mystics, the monks, the warriors of spirit. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The Bhagavad Gita says, "You were never born, you will never die." The Gospel of Thomas whispers, "The kingdom is within you." All of them pointed to one truth. Your strength isn't something you find, it's something you remember. But somewhere along the way, this knowledge was pushed aside, buried under noise, forgotten under fear. In this section, we'll uncover the ancient teachings that reminded people who they really were, and you'll begin to see you were never meant to be weak. You were built to remember. Let's stop here, because this is the moment that could change everything. You've been told strength is something you build through hard work, success, confidence. But what if that's wrong? What if true strength is not a skill, but a state of being? Strength is when you feel pain but don't run from it. When you face fear but move forward anyway. When the world around you shakes, but something inside stays still. This isn't some feel-good idea. This is about who you really are. You are not the voice in your head. You are not your struggles. You are the one watching all of it. The awareness underneath it all. Science calls it consciousness. Mystics call it the soul. You can call it whatever you want, but it doesn't break and it doesn't fade. This is your core, and when you remember that, something inside you shifts. You don't have to become strong, you already are, you've just forgotten. Now here's a question you need to ask. If this truth is so powerful, why isn't it taught in school? Why don't we hear it in church, in the news, in daily life? Because here's the dark part. Power systems don't want powerful people. Religions, governments, corporations, they all function better when people feel small. Throughout history, any teaching that said, "You are divine, you are free, or you don't need permission," was attacked, burned, silenced. The Gnostics, called heretics, mystical teachings, erased from scriptures, indigenous wisdom, outlawed and shamed, even. Today, self-worth is sold back to you through products, praise, and attention. Why? Because if you realize you're already enough, you stop needing what they're selling. So now we arrive at the doorway. Everything you need is already inside you. The only question is, will you keep pretending to be weak, or will you remember the truth? Because once you do, everything changes. Your relationships, your choices, your voice, your life. This isn't motivation. It's not inspiration. It's a mirror. You are stronger than you think.